Hi, my name is Mohammed Hassan Salam. I'm a software engineer experienced in web, GIS, mobile, and database development. You are welcome to my channel, and I hope you enjoy the content. Today's tutorial is about one of my projects that I have accomplished, which is an awesome database engine. I named it XOD, short for XML-based Object-Oriented Database. XOD is a native .NET database. You can use it with C# or VB.NET to build small to mid-size applications. XOD works great with ASP.NET too. XOD has a lot of features, but if there is something that I should mention about XOD, I would say that XOD is extremely easy and flexible. And soon, XOD will be cross-platform as well. When the .NET Core compatible version is ready, you will be able to use it for your development on Linux, Mac, in addition to Windows. Before we get started with this tutorial, there are some points that I should highlight about XOD. First, XOD is open source under MIT license, and you can find it at github.com/mhsalam/XOD. XOD is very lightweight with very little footprints. That means it doesn't consume a lot of space. And as we mentioned before, XOD is object-oriented. It means you don't create tables and columns to structure your data. Instead, you use classes and properties in your code. XOD stores the data in XML format, which is a markup language that is both readable by humans and machines. XOD is not a regular relational database like MySQL or SQLite, but it is relational because it provides the same principles of relational databases. Relationships like one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many are available in XOD. The only difference here is that it provides these principles in object-oriented programming flavor. XOD is also thread-safe. You can use it in multi-threaded applications development, like building web applications using ASP.NET. The rest of this video, and the videos to follow in this tutorial, will demonstrate how flexible and easy to use XOD is. In this tutorial, we will be building small to-do application using only XOD and C#. But first, let's begin with a quick example to get you started. We will create a console application and run some basic insert, read, update, and delete operations, and in later videos, we will add the graphical user interface element to the application. Right now, I'm assuming you have some basic knowledge in programming in order to understand the rest of this tutorial. To deliver this example, we will be using Microsoft Visual Studio IDE. I'm using version 2013, even though it's not the latest, but it's just okay to use it, or even older versions like 2012 or 2010. If you don't have it installed in your computer, you can download Visual Studio 2015 Community Edition for free from visualstudio.com website. Microsoft Visual Studio IDE is a powerful development tool. Its total download size is about 3 GB. If you're not interested in using the full-fledged Visual Studio IDE, but you need a lighter development tool, I would suggest using Visual Studio Code, which is an excellent code editor, and it's about 40 MB in size. Unfortunately, using Visual Studio Code is out of our scope, because we are targeting .NET Framework in this tutorial and not .NET Core. But soon, I'll do another tutorial for .NET Core using Visual Studio Code, so stay tuned. To download the latest Community Edition of Visual Studio, open your internet browser, go to visualstudio.com website, find the Community Edition download button, and then download the installation file. Now, I'm not gonna do that because I already have version 2013 installed, as I mentioned before. The next step is to open Visual Studio. Now let's create a new project. Go to File menu, and then New, Project. Or press the key shortcut Shift-Ctrl-N. From New Project dialog box, make sure you've selected Templates, Visual C#, Windows Desktop on the left side of the dialog box. From the list in the center, select Console Application. We will name the project XOD To-Do Console. Specify the path where you want to locate the project. In my case, C Projects. Then click OK. Now that we have created a new project, we need to install XOD library dependency. This is pretty easy. You just need to open Package Manager console from View, Other Windows, Package Manager console. On this console, type this command: install package XOD-pre, and then press enter. This will install XOD from nugget.org, the online package manager from Microsoft, and then you will be ready to start coding. Now, let's go back to program.cs file, which is already open. At the top, add XOD namespace. Underneath program class, create another class and name it to-do-item. In this new class, we will add three properties: ID, title, and done. ID is integer and will be unique for each to-do item to identify the object. Title is string and will be used to describe what we want to do. And done is boolean or true-false value. False means the job is not done yet, and true means the job has been done. If we were using regular relational databases terms, this class would be the table, and the three properties would be the columns. But we're not, so we will stick with the terms class and properties. Now, we need to connect our program to XOD database file. In main method, write this code: XOD context db equal to new XOD context, and then specify the path where the database file is between parentheses. In our case, c:/XOD/data.XOD. This creates a connection to XOD database file. Right now, the database file doesn't exist yet, but once we run the program for the first time, XOD will realize that and will create a new database file automatically by default. Now that we have created to-do-item class, we can instantiate some objects from it and store them in our database. We can access all functionality of XOD database through the object db we just created in main method. For instance, if we want to store a new data into the database, we call the function db.insert. Let's try that out. db.insert, between parentheses, create a new object from to-do-item class. Let's put the title readable in this new object, and add these lines to display a proper output message when the insert is complete. Console.writeLine, operation completed. Console.writeLine, press any key to exit. Console.readKey. The last line will stop the execution of the program until we press any key, and then the program will automatically exit. To start running the program, click on Start Debugging button on the toolbar or press F5 key as a shortcut. You will see the message Operation Completed on the screen. That means the database has been created and our object has been inserted. Let's go back to the folder where our database should be. The folder is not empty anymore. The files you see belongs to our database. Let's open the xpag file. This file in particular is the one that registered our inserted object in XML format. Although we did not specify any number in the ID property when we inserted the object, but we noticed that the ID property is set to 1 in the XML file. That's because XOD understands that the ID property meant to be primary key and makes it both primary key and auto number automatically by default. Now we know how to add new objects into the database. It's time to show you how to read and update objects now. XOD offers different methods to get back objects from the database. We will use find method in this example, which is a method that returns the first object that matches a given criteria. In main method, turn insert code line into a comment, and then add the following code. With this code, we simply tell XOD to bring back the first object of type to-do-item, where its ID property equals to 1, then assign the value into td variable. Let's create some debugging breakpoints to track the value of td variable before and after the execution of find method. Let's run the program. Click Start button on the toolbar or press F5 key. The execution of the program will be stopped at the breakpoint we specified. Now, point at td variable. Before calling the find method, td equals to null. Now, press F5 key to move to the next breakpoint. Point at td variable again. Now, it equals to the object we wanted from XOD. XOD brought back the object from its state as XML element to its original state as an object. Now that we have the object back, we can modify its values and then update it in the database. Press Shift and F5 to stop the debugging. Press Ctrl, Shift and F9 to delete all breakpoints we made previously. Now, let's add this code. td.done equal to true. Then call update method from DB to actually update the object in the database. As you can see, we modified the value of done property. This modification should be reflected in the database. But before checking that out, let's change the output message as well. Now, press F5. The program does the job and says that the object has been updated. Let's go back to the xpag file and see the changes. As you can see, property done has been added, and its value equals to true as expected. With this example, our first video in XOD database comes to an end, but the tutorial is not over yet. The next stage is to build a simple yet complete to-do application with graphical user interface using XOD and WPF. Thanks for watching.